Good morning, everyone. Guys, we have got, well, I say we, America have got astronauts lost in space. So this comes as the, in fact, let me go off this article because, I'm not going to say this is suspicious, but it just seems, well, I guess strange is synonymous with suspicious. But, it seems to me that we can send people to the moon, but we can't bring people back from a space station. So Boeing Starliner returns to Earth, but without astronauts. So the Boeing Starliner is the new, it's the new vehicle that Boeing are developing for NASA. Now, let's just read it. Boeing Starliner spacecraft has completed its journey back to Earth, but the astronauts it was supposed to be carrying remain behind on the International Space Station. Bit embarrassing, we all know when when you've drove and left a party and you've left your friend behind. That's a bit embarrassing for Boeing. The empty craft traveled in autonomous mode after unlocking from the orbiting lab. The capsule, which suffered technical problems after it launched with NASA's Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams on board. Guys, I think we should have a moment for those because those are the most American names I've ever heard. Was deemed too risky to take the astronauts home. They will instead return on SpaceX Crew Dragon. Guys, I've said quite a while, everybody's all about Elon Musk and his space companies. Guys, do we not see what the reality is? They're not space companies. His companies are all have military applications. So his space companies, you've seen these, let me stop that a minute, guys. So you've seen those, I've got an example somewhere. In fact, we'll use this pen. So you've all seen Elon Musk and his, what's it called? Starship. Guys, it's a military project. It's got nothing to do with civilians. They're using the guise of civilian projects. So there's no oversight into it. But basically, I said this to my friend a long time ago when we said everything that Elon Musk and his companies are producing, they're for the military. Don't be fooled by thinking they're not for the military. So this Starship, whatever it's called, you've all seen it going out and then you've seen it coming back and landing. It is fantastic, guys, watching it land. Well, let me ask you this question. If that was to land, if they can make it land in wherever their landing pad is in California, they can do it on the sea, on those big barges. If they can make it land there, what's to say they can't make that land in the middle of in the middle of, right on the Kremlin? How would that be stopped? When they launch these things, you've probably got like 30 minutes, or I think actually Elon Musk said anywhere on the Earth in 90 minutes. So by the time that thing launches, say it's launched with a load of US Marine. In fact, no, guys, the Americans have probably used 1st Battalion Parachute Regiment, the Brits. So it goes up with all the military equipment on. It goes into orbit. The Russians think that's a bit of a weird orbit, and then it just comes down right on Russia. 10 of them, guys. And then followed up with US air support, which is ridiculous. This Starship, guys, it's the most advanced military insertion vehicle that's ever been conceived. And we all think they're going to Mars. Guys, Mars is fake. It's not happening. It's never going to happen. It's just smoke and mirrors. Well, Mars might happen, but it's not going to happen it's not going to happen until we've colonized the moon. Anyway, guys, back to the article. Sorry about the rant. Equally, I do think I pride myself on being a good judge of character. I think Elon knows what he's getting into, and I think he understands what he's doing, and he doesn't like it. Yeah, so so they'll basically return on Elon Musk's SpaceX Crew Dragon. This thing here, guys, back in 2017, I tried to get funding to redevelop this, and I wanted to build a small prototype that would be basically a high altitude drone. And you see, the problem when this thing comes back in, the problems it has, it's the speed that it re-enters. Now, if you get rid of that speed while you're in orbit, your fall is pretty benign. I mean, what was his name, Boombenberg or whatever, the Red Bull guy, he jumped from right at the edge of the space. Sorry, right from the edge of space with just a parachute. So it's not the vertical speed. Sorry, it's not the relative vertical speed that is the problem to these capsules. It's the relative horizontal speed that puts you in orbit that you need to get rid of. So you need to get rid of that horizontal speed. Now, the problem is they get rid of this horizontal speed by air braking, which means this bit at the bottom here has to be really hard wearing. And if there's any slight defects in that, then the whole thing can be an absolute catastrophic failure. So what my solution was to have a huge drone, propeller drone, ducted fans. It doesn't really matter. What I suggested is, rather than kill the speed coming through the atmosphere, you kill the speed with rockets at altitude while you're in orbit, and then you just fall down to Earth. It would be a lot safer, and there would be a lot, there'd be a lot more redundancy, because this thing is absolutely archaic. After Starliner's return, a NASA spokesman said he was pleased at the successful landing, but wished it could have gone as originally planned. The flight back lasted 6 hours. After it re-entered Earth's atmosphere, parachutes were used to slow its descent at the White Sands Space Harbor in New Mexico. NASA said that Butch and Sonny were in good spirits. Steve Stitch, again, guys, another fantastic American name. NASA's commercial crew program manager said both astronauts were in good spirits. So I think I may have missed it, guys, but I think they're coming back in February, and it was supposed to be like, it was supposed to be a short trip, and they're going to be out there for ages. Now, how have we got to the situation in our space exploration where we can't do this anymore, where we're struggling, and we spend so much money, and we spend so much money on weapons, on bombs, on invading other countries. We spend an absolute tiny amount of money on looking to the stars and looking to space. Where if you share my opinion, let me just show you this picture. Where is it? Yeah. Wouldn't you rather we spend money on space exploration? Wouldn't you rather be there with your kids, looking down at that and saying, yeah, look, this is our planet Earth, we've been to space? Wouldn't it be better, rather than spending 8 billion on, 8.5 billion a year, this is the UK, 8.5 billion a year on housing migrants? Wouldn't we rather have a space program? Wouldn't we rather, push to the stars? Because if we can get to the stars, there's untold resources. Everybody can have a piece of that pie. There's asteroids that are full of gold, asteroids that are made of diamonds, but nobody seems to want to go to space because we all seem to want to fight and have ridiculous wars and destroy each other's towns and cities. And, in a couple of years, we all change the lines anyway, and all the wars are pointless, and it just seems absolutely ridiculous. Sorry, guys, sorry to go off on a tangent on the wars, but it seems really strange that this has happened. I think it may be some sort of, I'm not convinced that Boeing got this so epically wrong. I'm not convinced that Boeing, again, this is just me speculating. There may be something behind the scenes. There may be some agreements between Boeing and SpaceX about this. I don't know. But what I will say is it seems very suspicious, very strange that this thing's happened, and all of a sudden, there happens to be 2 extra spaces on the on Elon Musk's ship. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think, guys. Is this some sort of smoke and mirrors? Is this some sort of a strategy to diminish Boeing? Because there's already, problems at Boeing. I think Boeing went out and they started to have a huge DEI, diversity, equality, and inclusion hire. They started to hire a lot of people who they wouldn't normally hire. They'd normally hire, what did they call them? Old, pale and stale white men, the ones who've got like 40 years military experience. They're trusted, they can do the job. What they started to do is they started to hire a lot of people, a lot of diverse students from universities with not much life experience. And these people are coming into the workplace now. So, and I'm not saying there's any correlation between this, guys, because correlation is not causation. But, what you do see is you see a lot of problems with Boeing at the moment. And it seems like SpaceX is taking up that slack. Now, if you agree with me, and guys, I think SpaceX is US military. So if you're thinking now that US military are taking over this space, where does this lead us? You know, where does this lead us? Are we going to have like laser beams on the moon? I don't know. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully we don't have laser beams on the moon, but you know, I'm not, guys, it's 2024, almost 2025. I am not ruling anything out. But yeah, I might put that in there. I think I'm going to put that in the thumbnail, guys. Laser beams on the moon. But anyway, guys, that is it. Just a little update on what's happening off the world. I'm going to back to grid and I'll get you guys another video later.